Hey everyone. Yeah, I got about 22 minutes before 22 minutes before I have to clock in. But, I thought I'd come on here and talk about something, As you probably all know, that for a while, that myself and, in my opinion, from what I can tell, a huge majority of the MLP fan base, the Bronies and the Pegasus and all that, are essentially huge supporters of Sparity. And in case you guys don't know what Sparity is basically short. Sparity is basically short in a sense, and as well as is the romantic shipping name for Spike and Rarity of Friendship is Magic. And if some of you are new to Friendship is Magic in the past couple of recent years, you're finally kind of getting around to it, understanding it and accepting it, maybe even binge watching past episodes of past seasons, you might ask yourself, why are fans fascinated with this uneven ship, like this impossible ship? Because the way I look at it, the reason a lot, and I mean a lot, of fans support it is because it represents something, achieving the impossible. Achieving the impossible, that's what it represents. Achieving the impossible dream that no one may think you can achieve, but you keep on pace to want to achieve it. You want to keep doing your best to try to achieve that goal of fulfill. You do your best. You try to achieve and fulfill that goal. That you want to, achieve. You want to fulfill. You want to get to. And in a sense, that's what this whole thing with Rarity and Spike represents. Spike represents us in a real life, of wanting to reach, of having an impossible goal, or having a goal that may seem impossible, having a dream that may be impossible to make come true. He represents us in wanting to make it come true. He represents us as to wanting to achieve that goal, and in his case, Rarity romantically is that dream he wants to make come true. He is that goal he wants to achieve. So that's why a lot of fans support Spike and Rarity. It's because we want to see that. We want to see more so than anything Spike achieve that goal. We want to see him make that dream become a reality. Now, I know some people would come on here and say, but Spike's a kid. Well, essentially after this season, and mostly after this upcoming episode on Saturday, he's no longer a kid. He's, in a sense, an adult, or at least old enough to be considered a potential love interest, or the love interest of Rarity. I mean, heck, think about it this way. Not to give much away, but this is basically, when you kind of look at it from a continuity standpoint, this is essentially I can't even count, almost maybe the sixth or eighth episode that has Spike in it, but also has Rarity in it, both playing major roles, or at least supportive roles, in a sense. And that might be surprising, but it's true. I mean, we saw that with Secret of My Excess. We've seen it with Dragon Quest. We've seen it numerous other times throughout the series run. We've seen it with Gauntlet of Fire. We've seen it in season 5, where she persuaded him to distract Twilight for a moment. We've seen all of that. And as I excuse me. And as I've mentioned before, if the show staff didn't want this to continue, they would have ended it long ago. They would have said enough's enough. They would have said no more, but they didn't, because they probably know that, like I mentioned, Spike represents that impossible, represents trying to achieve the impossible, trying to achieve a goal that may seem impossible, trying to make an impossible dream come true. I mean, look at it from a real life standpoint. How many people, and there's a lot, believe it or not, and they have a ton of inspirational stories that are very similar. But how many of these inspirational stories that the person that's at the center of it has always been told they would never achieve this, or they would never get to this point? And yet they prove the detractors wrong. They prove the people that doubt them wrong. And that's why I think Spike and Rarity still gets talked about, still gets acknowledged, referenced, even as recently as this past Saturday in the episode Break Up, Break Down. It's because of the fact that it represents a scenario that may seem silly in real life comparison, but it's true. And that is wanting to achieve the impossible dream. That is wanting to achieve the goal that nobody says you can achieve. Now, I know you might say, well, that sounds great and everything, but why continue this? Why go as far without it having some kind of result? You know, you can't just say, well, Spike's still trying to achieve it. This is why sometimes they will throw in little jokes here and there, or little, I mean, this is what I'm saying is this is why they will throw in little jokes here and there, little teases that, even though he still focuses at times on trying to make this thing with Rarity happen, that he's willing to at least, if he can't achieve it, try to focus on another goal. Some have said that him and Sweetie Belle is probably the next best, that Sweetie Belle would be the next best thing for him. And that might be true, but the thing is, we don't know. We don't know if they would do that as a constellation prize. Some have even said Ember. Some can even say Smolder. And those are all potentially good ideas. There's no doubt. Or good choices and alternate, if not unexpected, goals to achieve. There's no doubt. But when one thinks about it, folks, if this show staff, despite the changes that it's gone through over the past near decade, the one constant has always stayed true, obviously, and that's to maybe see this whole Spike Rarity thing to the end. And I'm not going to put it past them if they do it. If they do say, hey, in the final season, let's just make these two an item. Because if they plan to have a clean slate with Gen 5, it would make sense to let Rarity and Spike be an item, because you're not going to go back to it afterwards. That's about it. I mean, you have him basically recite a poem for Rarity, and he calls her in that poem his beloved. You can't tell me that maybe if they wanted to make that Hearts and Hooves Day special a little longer, they wouldn't show highlights of him maybe giving her flowers, maybe in a bouquet of flowers, maybe in the form of actual red ruby gems or whatever, and then reciting that poem for her. You can't tell me they wouldn't have had that scene in, maybe in a montage. We don't know. The point is, a lot of us, a majority of us, and I mean there's a huge majority, that support this pairing, this shipping, we understand how others feel about it. We do. I mean, you have freaking, I love Kim Possible a lot. Voice of Reason, Sweetie Blue. 3 major members of the Rift Cafe, TF2 analysis, the analysis community, and the Brony and Pegasus community overall that support this, if not more, and as well as you got others that may support it. You know, I think even Silver Quill, in a sense, kind of supports it. You know, and Josh Firebrand, you know, he may not come out and say he supports it, but kind of see that maybe in a sense he acknowledges it. He understands why it's there. And here's the other thing. And I'm looking at my time here. I got about 11-12 minutes. And here's the other thing. I understand how some feel about the whole Spike Rarity deal, feeling a little off, especially in light of what's happened behind the scenes. But you would think that Hasbro, behind the scenes, if they would have heard about this, DHX Media, if they would have heard about what happened behind the scenes, means what a certain former member of the Brony Pegasus community, that they would have taken action and maybe cut that part where Spike uses his poem for Rarity as an example to show Discord what love is about. They would have cut that out if they wanted to. I mean, heck, they would cut out anything related to Spike Rarity, but they don't. Because to them, even though they may have heard about it, it's not that big of an issue to them, really. Because if they hear that the community itself, the analysis, the Rift Cafe members themselves have already taken care of it, have already taken the proper measures, have already taken the appropriate and proper measures to ensure justice is served, and that their ex-friend, the ex-member, gets the help he needs and serves the time he should be serving for what he's done, then that's all. Then to them it's not their problem, because they know that this is a show that if they decide to go with Spike Rarity as an official item in the next year, they'll find a way to make it work. They'll find a way to justify it. They'll find a way to say, hey, this is why we're going to do this. And it's like I told them, many times, they either got to get off the pot, make these 2 an item, make it official, or at least or at least acknowledge that there's something there between them, so that it's kind of semi-official, or just be done with it, be rid of it. Just be done with it, be rid of it. I mean, heck, you like I said, you dedicate several episodes throughout the seasons. Secret of My Access, Gauntlet of Fire, Dragon Quest, Inspiration Manifestation. The list goes on, including acknowledgement from Breakup Breakdown, and then this upcoming episode on Saturday, and possibly even further down the line later on the season with another episode. So, heck, during the climax finale of the season 3 premiere. I think it was the season 3 premiere. Then the climactic battle there, when Spike escapes with the heart, the crystal heart, to try to get it to Cadence, and he calls to the others. They say, and he tells me he's got the crystal heart. Who's the first one that acknowledges him calling to them? Rarity. Who's the first one to say anything when he falls and looks like he's going to fall to his death or his doom? Rarity. the point is, what I'm trying to get at is, I know some people may not like this pairing, but to me again, it fits in the dynamic of, it's a pairing that represents achieving a goal, that represents, wanting to achieve an impossible dream and make it a reality. That's what it is from the Spike perspective. Overall, it's also something that's been some fans have put a very cute and adorable addition to the show, that we the fans want to come out and admit it, or they don't, that they actually enjoy. And if sometimes miss if it's not acknowledged. And when it's acknowledged, referenced, or even focused on, are happy to see. So, when I look at Sparity, Spike and Rarity, that's why it's still around. That's why it still gets referenced. That's why it still gets acknowledged. That's why I truly believe, and even, like I said, with this Saturday, and maybe later on upcoming in the season, it's going to get focused on in some way or form with this Saturday's episode and an episode later on in the season. So, that's why I think Sparity is the Spike Rarity Sparity situation or relationship or ship, if you will, is still around in MLP. Because it's an essential part. It is a major essential part of the series, of the franchise, and many would look at it as being a very cute, adorable, essential part, just because some might say it's adorable and cute of the crush, but it also, in my opinion, represents looking at something that may be impossible, but not impossible to achieve. Or basically it represents trying to achieve the impossible goal and trying to make the dream that may seem impossible, possible. So, that's the way I look at it. And I'm sure others do as well. Well, anyway, let me see what time it is. I got about 4 minutes, so I'm going to try to grab something real quickly. But yeah, that's just my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think. Comment down below. Thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Excuse me. I gotta get something real quickly before I clock in to work, and I'll talk to you maybe later on today. Who knows? Peace out. God bless. I am done.